Why is it that despite all the education we receive, so many of us still feel lost? Why is it that with degrees, achievements, knowledge, that a lingering emptiness still remains? Could it be that society taught us to value and to pursue something that's actually blinding us from something much deeper, something far more valuable? Every child is born with a spark, a natural intelligence that doesn't need to be taught or explained. Watch any child and you will see it. It's a sense of wonder, of discovery, of pure, unfiltered curiosity. But as we grow up, we learn the rules. We're taught what to think, not how to think. We're trained to be logical, analytical, and rational, and somewhere in that training, a transformation occurs. Because that intelligence that we're born with, it dims. Think about your own experience. Have you ever felt like you're constantly chasing something that you can't quite grasp? Maybe you felt like you're not living up to the person you want to be or were meant to live. You're not reaching your potential. What if the real problem isn't you? What if it's the system that you were brought up in, the very education you received that was supposed to empower you? We're told that education makes us smarter, but maybe it only makes us better at being like everyone else. Sort of an uncomfortable thought, isn't it? The very system we rely on to shape us may be shaping us into something we're not. We're trained in math, science, history, but what about the art of being you, being ourselves? Imagine a school that told you forget conformity, discover who you are. Now we're told to run the race without ever questioning if it's the right race for us. And I want to tell you a story here. It's the story of the animal school. In a forest, a rabbit, a bird, a squirrel, a fish, and an eel decided they needed formal education to prepare for life. So altogether, they designed a curriculum that included running, flying, swimming, and climbing. But then, something strange happened. Each animal had to take every subject, regardless of its natural strengths. The rabbit, who was born to run, struggled miserably in tree climbing, falling time and time again until it was no longer even good at running. The bird, who was born to fly, spent so much time digging and burrowing that it forgot how to soar. And in the end, the best student was the eel. But not because it excelled at anything, but simply because it was mediocre at everything. And I know this probably sounds a little absurd, but this story is a perfect mirror of what we go through from an early age. We're pushed to become well-rounded, to master skills that don't align with our nature, all for the sake of meeting someone else's expectations. And in doing so, many of us lose touch with what makes us unique. We forget how to see through our own eyes, to run with our own feet, to think with our own mind. So here's the real question. How did we go from being curious, open, naturally intelligent, to feeling constrained and anxious, and let's be honest, a little bit lost? It's because society teaches us to look outward for validation, for approval, for a sense of worth. But this focus on the external pulls us further and further away from our own essence. Instead of tapping into our own inner intelligence, we're forced to imitate, to mold ourselves to fit a standard that wasn't created with us in mind. And this loss of intelligence isn't just a matter of education, it's a loss of self-awareness. It's a loss of the ability to see, to really see the beauty and the complexity of life as it unfolds in each moment. When was the last time you truly looked at something without a goal, without a judgment, without the pressure of being right? Because children, they do this naturally. But as adults, we are wrapped up in plans, judgments, preconceptions that we forget how to simply observe. Intelligence may not be something that we acquire through hard work or study, but maybe just something we're born with, something as natural as breathing. Intellect, or knowledge, is not what intelligence is about. Intellect is limited to what others have taught us. And yeah, it can be useful, but don't forget that it is borrowed. Intelligence, on the other hand, is alive, flowing, and free. It's our innate ability to see, to perceive, and to respond authentically to life as it's happening. That's intuition. That's intuitive, and it's in our bones. So why do we allow this intelligence to be stripped away? Because it seems counterintuitive, but society doesn't want individuals. It wants followers. Society doesn't want creators. It wants workers. It doesn't want thinkers. It wants reactors. If we were all to live by our own intelligence, questioning everything, society as we know it would change. And that's exactly why society trains us not to think independently, but to conform, to obey, and to follow. It's a giant entity. How often have we all been told by someone else to be more like someone else? Why can't you be more like him? I mean, my parents would always say that. Look at what they're doing. Maybe you should try that. Toxic comparisons, because they chip away at your own uniqueness. They lead you away from your own intelligence, replacing it with imitation. The more you imitate, the less you see through your own eyes. So now we get to the next question. How do we reclaim our intelligence? Well, what if instead of striving to be like others, we could return to that natural state of awareness that we had as children? Can you wake up each day, not with a mind full of goals, anxieties, or comparisons, but with a simple curiosity and a desire to see, experience, and understand what this whole life really is? Don't get me wrong, to do this is a complete rebellion, basically against everything we've been taught to believe about success and happiness, but it's not the kind of rebellion where you protest or fight. No, this is more of a silent rebellion, more about choosing to live life from your own center, to follow your own intelligence rather than anyone else's. And this is kind of radical these days because it doesn't rely on past knowledge or future plans. It's really just rooted in awareness, in being fully present and responding to life as it's happening, moment by moment. And that is real intelligence. Real intelligence is only alive in the moment. It has nothing to do with a book, nothing to do with a book of answers, scripture. It's about trusting that whatever the question may be, you have the capacity to respond authentically. And why does all this matter anyways, right? Because a life lived from this intelligence is a life of freedom. It's a life where you're no longer a puppet pulled by the strings of expectations and patterns. You're no longer paralyzed by the fear of not being good enough. You're free to explore, to make mistakes, and to learn from them. Not because someone told you it's the right thing to do, but because it feels true to you. And there's a great liberation in this, because suddenly you find yourself open to life in a way that you have never seen before. The world becomes a vast, rich landscape filled with colors, textures, sounds, and experiences that you can now see clearly because you're seeing it through your own eyes. But make no mistake, reclaiming your own intelligence it's not the easiest thing in the world, because the conditioning can run really deep and the voices that urge you to conform are loud. It's a journey that requires courage, a willingness to face the unknown, and a readiness to be seen as strange. But if you can make the leap, if you can learn to trust your own intelligence, a whole new world opens up to you. And this world isn't just a world where things happen to you, it's a world that you can actively create and engage with. When you begin to live from this place of awareness, you get out of your head, you start to see the beauty in things you once overlooked. That's when a simple walk in nature becomes a profound experience. A little conversation reveals great new depths. You're no longer a passive spectator, but an active participant in the dance of life. Intelligence, the capacity to truly live, to experience life as it is, not as you should think it should be. It's radical, unfiltered encounter with reality, and it's available to each of us if we're willing to look beyond the walls of our mind. So be prepared, because it will change you. Once you awaken this intelligence, the life you once accepted, it's not going to satisfy you. You're going to find yourself questioning things you took for granted, the relationships that no longer align with your true self, careers that you're not going to fulfill you. It can kind of be frightening, but it is a necessary step if you want to live from a place of authenticity and true freedom. So if you're ready to reclaim intelligence, start by unlearning. Set aside your beliefs and expectations that have been handed to you and tune into yourself. Listen to the quiet voice within, because it's been there all along, waiting patiently for you to return. Remember, you weren't born to be a carbon copy. You were born to be you, to experience life in a way that only you can. So trust in that. Trust in your own intelligence, and allow yourself to live from a place of awareness, of freedom, of authentic curiosity. With that said, thanks for watching. If this resonated, go ahead and like and subscribe. Till next time, peace.